put that out for our viewers that the joint declaration has been adopted. It's over 1,000 pages long, but the most important bit of that joint statement is the condemnation of Russia's war on Ukraine, and India's textual suggestion on various aspects does find mention in that particular document. Remember, yesterday here on CNN News 18, we told you that the words that Prime Minister had used a few months ago about it not being an era of war will be finding a mention in the joint statement that comes out at the end of the summit, and that's exactly what has happened today. Abhishek continues to be with me, and Abhishek, we're given to understand that there was a last-minute attempt by China to adjust the language as far as this joint communique was concerned, especially as far as Russia's invasion of Ukraine is concerned, or the war that is currently undergoing. But this declaration that has finally come out, the final draft, is a victory not only for the G20 grouping and for the Western powers who've been wanting to call out Russia, but also for India.
That is clearly the Prime Minister's textual changes and suggestions or Indian sides made some intervention during this joint declarations. The adoption process have found mention in the joint, considered as being a diplomatic strength that India has expressed at this multilateral platform. But at the same time, to tell you the fact that this whole negotiation of joint adoption of joint declaration, there has like multiple days pass of all the nations, the representatives of all the nations, foreign ministers of all the G20 countries. They have been in each other from sides and the usage of the word could, or it should be should. So these are the kind of very fine and delicate balances that every member country wants to have, so that when they go back, they can also tell domestic audience that they have been able to achieve something at this multilateral platform. So while we can talk about Chinese side's opposition regarding this war, of how the phrasing of the statement have been, it's very well possible that they might have expressed their reservations on that. But at the end of the day, since it's a joint declaration which needs to have mandate, which needs to have signature of all the member countries. So as of now, we can say that despite the reservation or their concerns, they have finally agreed upon this draft, which clearly tells that this is not the era of war, and this is kind of India's diplomatic victory that we can right now talk about.
Absolutely. Big diplomatic wins there, and the rapport that the Prime Minister shares with several other world leaders is also something that is often spoken of. That is also something that we saw on display over the last 24 hours as we had world leaders greeting him, hugging him, the conversations that happened on the sidelines of the sessions that were held at the G20 or the bilaterals. That is also something of great significance to the country, and that is something that India will take forward in the next year when we host several meetings over the span of 1 year for G20.
Of course, I mean, there has been this joint declaration from G20 member countries. Officially, India has been handed over this responsibility of next presidency of 2020 G20 summit level talks, and we saw just live how Prime Minister was addressing and underlining his priorities that will be part of India's G20 presidency. But apart from those multilateral discussion, and indeed this Prime Minister Modi's next few hours are very packed. He's going to have multiple bilateral meetings with he has already had a meeting lunch with President Emmanuel Macron, but afterwards, from now onwards, he's going to have a meeting with the President of Indonesia, Widodo. He's meeting with the Prime Minister Sunak, meeting with Italian Prime Minister, and his meeting with Australian Prime Minister Anthony Albanese is also scheduled. And then local time, like in the next 3 hours, about 3 hours, Prime Minister will be departing from Bali. Clearly, it has been a lot of back schedule for Prime Minister, but he has been able to make intervention at multilateral platforms. He has been able to suggest some sectoral changes in the joint declaration that was adopted by all the members through consensus, and he has been able to make sure that he meets some of his some of India's good allies and a few of his the leaders at G20 summit talks, where he has been able to find some time to have meetings with them both.
Right, so the handover has happened, as those visuals on your screens, viewers, speak to that. The Indonesian president handing over the presidency of G20 for next year to Indian Prime Minister Narendra Modi there. There are a host of meetings that will be held over the next 1 year, 200 odd. We're given to understand that every state capital will also have sessions with world leaders. It is a great opportunity for the country to not only showcase the developmental strides that we've made, but also to act as a bridge between different members of the G20 grouping, members that include countries which are both developed nations as well as emerging economies. And even as there is a global downturn that we are seeing as far as the economy is concerned, India's economic status has been stable, especially through the COVID pandemic. And Abhishek, that is something that is going to be driving the agenda for the G20 summit next year as well.
Of course, Prime Minister, while mentioning the current geopolitical turmoil, has also said that world is very hopeful of G20 member countries meetings, and they are looking at us at an expectation that we'll be able to provide them solution of the crisis in terms of inflation, crisis in terms of supply of food and fertilizer, which has fallen short of supply in the wake of Russia-Ukraine conflict. So in these challenging times, India is going to have this presidency. Prime Minister has also highlighted that India's presidency will have a special focus on women-led growth because of if the half of the population of this world is not brought to the mainstream of growth, and if this does not have a clear participation in business activity, political activities, or other social or economic activities in the day-to-day life, the growth of the world or the prosperity of the whole world will not be possible to achieve. And this special focus has been, Prime Minister has mentioned that India would like to have emphasis on women-led participation. He also said that G20 could become a catalyst for the new era of growth and prosperity. He also said that Prime Minister, while mentioning the upcoming presidency and the challenges that our incessant use and exploitation of natural resources has pushed us to a brink where not only the resources have been depleted and they are creating crisis, economic crisis, but
Right.
that have all been done on the resources or the policies.
Right, so it's official now. The G20 presidency has been handed over to India. It begins from the 1st of December, and there are over 200 sessions that will be held over the span of the next 365 days as India spearheads the global narrative, being a bridge between developed nations and emerging economies. It really is Vishwaguru India leading the way, and that becoming a reality. For now, we're slipping into a quick break. Back with much more on the other side.